Hello, I'm Javier Martinez.
I'm Ángel Guzmán.
Today, for our Who's Who in Education Jigsaw project, we're going to talk about Theodore Ted Sizer and his impact on
So,
education.
who was Theodore Sizer? Theodore Sizer was born on June 23, 1932. His father, Theodore Sr., was a professor of art history at the University of Yale. So when Theodore Sizer wanted to follow in his footsteps growing up, so he decided to attend Yale. He eventually graduated and received his bachelor's degree in English in Yale. Soon after Yale, he decided to join the military. He stayed there for a couple of years. Then, after being in the military for around 2 or 3 years, he decided to go into the education field. He decided to teach high school for a while, but when he was still in teaching high school, he really wanted to be more of a role model. So he decided to earn his master's degree and his doctorate's degree in the University of Harvard. While doing this, he applied and he worked in several positions in various universities. For example, when he was at Brown, he was the head of the education program for around roughly 3 to 5 years. During that time, also while being at Brown, he made a book called the Horace's Compromise. This was the fact that most of the high school teachers around the country were now pushing their students to the educational limit. They were just leaving them there, like, okay, this is what you do, and turn in the work. Like, they weren't being pushed to their expectations as districts wanted to. And another thing he made in 1984 was the Coalition of Essential Schools. He wanted to spread his progressivism to a bunch of school curriculums, but Javi will explain that in the next part of the video. Sadly, he died in 2009 with colon cancer in Harvard, near the Harvard University in his home, and Javi will now explain what the Coalition of Essential Schools is and some of their goals in the school curriculum.
Alright, as Angel had previously mentioned, the ideas and practices of Theodore Sizer were finally implemented in his main project, which was called the Coalition of Essential Schools. The Coalition of Essential Schools is a great program, is a great foundation that he established. There they envision an educational system that equips all students with intellectual, emotional, and social habits and skills that allow them to become informed and productive citizens in society. The foundation acknowledges that no two schools are alike, so every program must be made to fit the students as well as the school and the nature of the educational system. But they do believe that there are some common principles and practices that should be implemented that can allow all schools to succeed. They finally envisioned that these schools will possibly influence the conditions in all schools and serve as examples in education reform policy. The Coalition of Essential Schools, or CES, fulfills its mission through facilitating communication within the CES network. They also convey essential schools and affiliate centers that ally their professional development programs and build a community. They also advocate for state and national conditions that support personalized education policies as well as equitable and academically challenged schools and systems. They also provide a fall forum every year. They convene teachers, administrators, parents, learning professionals, thinkers in the education society to ask questions and share insights that could effectively progress schools and their curriculum and their student performance. There's also many resources that are available that are provided by the CES that they demonstrate their effectiveness and their approach. There's books such as The Essential Guide for High School Conversion. There's also Big Schools, Small Schools, and Big Ideas. The Essential Guide for School Transformation. The CES has 10 common principles in which they strive for every school to use. They're illustrated here on the board. Number one is learning to use one's mind well. In this practice, the school should focus on helping the students learn to use their minds, teach them how to study, teach them how to learn, and everything else should just follow suit as far as their lessons. They go with a less is more approach, which that each student should master a limited number of essential areas and skills. With these essential skills serving as the foundation, the rest of their curriculum should just build on top of that. They believe that demonstrating a less is more attitude in curriculum will help in the sense that they're not overloaded with a sense of lessons and stuff. They can just focus on a few core lesson plans, and that should help them throughout their approach of high school and secondary schools. They should also strive to apply goals to all students. Students should strive to to meet these goals, as well as find goals that fit every student, which ties into number 4, is personalization. They know that every student learns different, so they should actually try to tailor their lessons as much as possible to be able to facilitate each student's needs equally. We also have student as a worker mentality and teacher as a coach mentality. This ties in with number 1, where the student actually does most of the work and the teacher is just there as a facilitator for the instruction. You teach the students how to learn, how to study, and they should be able to employ these practices themselves, which will ultimately help them as, their own person. We also go to demonstration. In this sense, the student should be able to assess, the teacher should be able to assess the student's mastery of performance on different skills, and this can be going from observations, completion of specific projects, so that the teacher can actually understand the student is learning and grasping the knowledge that they're supposed to learn, instead of just passing lesson to lesson. They're actually building that foundation we're talking about. They also stress a tone of decency and trust. The school should actually stress values of trust and decency, fairness, and generosity, and this should be key as collaborators in instruction, and this will help the students actually maintain a better attitude towards community and people that are giving lessons and stress the details. Commitment to the entire school. They believe that the principal and teachers, as well as other specialists, paraprofessionals, counselors, should be able to show the school that they have a commitment to the students, to the curriculum, to the actual school system. They believe that if everyone shows that they care, the students will actually care themselves. Resources dedicated to teaching and learning. They believe that the school should provide adequate resources. They should stress that these resources are in the budget so that teachers can plan better, the administration knows what they have to work with, and they can use it to the full advantage for the students. They also stress, lastly, democracy and equity. They feel that the school should demonstrate a non-discriminatory and inclusive policy. The CES also implemented another program called the Sizer's Principal Network, which is named after the founder, Theodore Sizer. The purpose of this is to provide principals with support, hands-on knowledge, training, learning communities for principals to show how his belief that the principals and administrators should dictate the flow of work and student learning. They believe that the principals should actually be more hands-on with the curriculum, make sure the teachers are implementing it correctly, and that giving the students as much progress and instruction that they need to be able to succeed from the top down.
So as we mentioned, Theodore Sizer had a really impact life, from his father being an art history professor at the Yale to all the way to creating the co-essentials of schools. He really impacted a lot in the school curriculum by writing, not only by writing his book, but by impacting the way school curriculum is now being used in today's schools throughout the nation.
With the Coalition of Essential Schools and the 10 principles, along with the Sizer's Principal Network, we can see that his ideas on education reform and his progressivism on the school curriculum has left a big impact on today's learners. For over 30 years, the CES has operated around the country, built learning communities for teachers and principals, and we can see the students succeeding in their model schools, compiling vast amounts of research every year, which is available online through the CES website. You can see some of these ideas and activities that are implemented in the schools and use them at home with your children, or push your schools to maybe adopt some of these principles and see how they could actually help our students in our local community.